So let me start with the wonderful passage which Narad Bhai just read. As we shared yesterday, that Aurobindo speaks about the yoga of the earth, in which man becomes a power which can accelerate the process. But there is a yoga going on in earth, and every day, material nature, earth, engages in the yoga, and it's a daily inspiration to us. So in this yoga of material nature, we have the seasons which are very much like the seasons through which a yogin passes. Summer is the season of intense tapasya. Monsoon, the season when there is a rain of purification. It washes away all the dross, attachments, clingings. Sometimes it can lead us to a state of even despair when it's constant purification going on. It's not easy to bear it, but it's always a grace. And then the season of winter, when the old consciousness has withered away and fallen off. And all earth waits in expectation for the new creation. A new creation arrives, and it arrives with joy, the sense of festivity, the sense of beauty, the sense of harmony, fullness, and that is spring. It's very interesting. Aurobindo starts from summer and ends with spring. Of course, spring is also the Divine Mother's birth. So, this yoga of material nature, in fact, there is a yoga going on all the time. It's the Veda which is written in the heart of creation, and it cannot be otherwise. So we have this description in the very beginning of the yoga of earth, of material nature, just 5 or 6 lines. And this is going on because of the touch of the divine. It's the divine who initiates the earth into yoga. And we have these lines on page 4. The Divine Mother's coming, and she touches earth nature. The material symbol is the sun rays touching earth and waking her to a new effort, to a new pang and the joy, and to a labor. And ultimately, what does earth do? It offers all the fragrances, all the beauty, all the tapasya, everything that it can to the supreme ecstasy. So these are the lines. The omniscient goddess leaned across the breadths that wrap the fated journeyings of the stars, and saw the spaces ready for her feet. What a vision. We don't need to go to a temple to have a vision of the Supreme Mother. Here is the vision. The omnipotent goddess leaned across the stars. She is walking on the stars, mighty and vast and glorious and wonderful and divine. And she looks down below on the spaces. The spaces, material spaces, psychological spaces, spaces within us, spaces around us, ready for her feet. What happens? When she touches the earth, the waking ear of nature heard her steps, and wideness turned to her its limitless eye, and scattered on sealed depths, her luminous smile kindled to fire the silence of the worlds. This is the inner fire, the yagna that must now start again. And this fire is kindled by the touch of the divine. This is what is known as initiation in traditional yoga. What is this initiation? Often people ask, who initiates in Aurobindo's yoga? Well, the divine himself. What is the sign of the initiation? Waking up of aspiration. Kindles to fire the silence of the worlds. And what happens after that? All grew a consecration and a rite. It's marvelous. This starts with the word all. Nothing is left. Everything becomes a process of yoga through a constant offering to the divine. This is the lesson from earth we learn. We, don't have to really read a book because every day it's going on. Now see the material nature and its yoga. Of course, the symbol works at many levels, but the most direct level. Air was a vibrant link between earth and heaven. Air is the prana in us, the life force. Instead of going downwards towards egoistic pursuit, it is uplifted. It becomes a link. The life energy in us becomes a link between matter and the beauty of the spirit. The wide-winged hymn of a great priestly wind. Every day we hear this mantra. Only we are not tuned to it because we believe that mantra has to be in Sanskrit. And the ones which I know from my mantra book. There cannot be any other mantra. But mantra arises from the depths of the heart and rises upward in a state of prayer and aspiration. That is mantra. Arose and failed upon the altar hills, the high peaks of material nature, the physical consciousness. It is in a state of aspiration. The high boughs prayed in a revealing sky. The trees teach us how to pray. For seasons, for years, sometimes they don't bear a fruit. And we are so much carried away by, I practiced for 1 year, I want to see quick results. If we are so keen for quick results, then we'll go into the imitation jewelry shop and buy something very cheap. Look at some of these trees, thousands and thousands and thousands of years. What do they teach us? Patience in prayer, perseverance in prayer. Every day the boughs pray to the revealing sky. There is a touch which comes and once again it goes into the realm of darkness. Again it comes. It doesn't stop praying. Unlike us, who with one shot of darkness, there is no God, there is no divine, all is a waste. Look at the trees. Here, now the hope, here, where our half-lit ignorance skirts the gulfs, on the dumb bosom of the ambiguous earth, here, where one knows not even the step in front, and truth has her throne on the shadowy back of doubt, on this anguished and precarious field of toil, outspread beneath some large, indifferent gaze, impartial witness of our joy and bale, our prostrate soil bore the awakening ray. Here, emphasis is here. Aurobindo repeatedly speaks of ihaiva. Yoga must be done here, upon earth, in a human body. For what purposes? Not to escape from the snare of time, but to bring down that light. And those who believe transformation is difficult, well, everyday nature shows us no. Every day the rays come, touch the soil, and the common dust is lit up by the ray. Imagine if this dust is offered at the feet of the divine, what would come of it? So here, this is the place of yoga. So, as we know, Savitri is a book of yoga, but an all-comprehensive yoga. It's not just yoga combined to how to sit and meditate. If you are still looking for that, it's infancy, its age is gone. Man nowadays is leading a life where either he has to make every moment a yoga or else he has to just collapse. There is no other alternative left. We cannot, it's so difficult to find time to even withdraw within ourselves. And yet it's possible to turn all life into a ceaseless yoga. Nature does it. And so we have to take the lesson. In fact, there are 2 lines of yoga that we see since man has consciously begun to think and aspire towards something beyond him. One line which withdraws us from nature, from the forms, from appearances. Unfortunately, in this age, the age of Kali, so to say, though it's passing away, it's passed away in principle, there is still this conception of yoga, that yoga is about withdrawing from forms and appearances which are maya, which are undivine, and engaging in some kind of a soul flight into the Supreme. This is one line of yoga as it has been understood today, not as it was originally understood. The Vedic rishis always wanted marriage between earth and heaven. And we have so many beautiful stories in Indian thought. Marriage between Shiva and Sati. The destruction of the sacrifice of Sati and the birth of Savitri. What is it? Very clear symbol. Shiva, the absolute, who stays always beyond the confines of material universe. That's why his land begins where, the dead bodies, Shamshan, Marghat, burial ground. That's where his domain starts. He doesn't want to come into this snare of forms. Yet there is a power which can bring him into this world of forms and names, the power of the Divine Mother. First as Shati, but she has to burn herself, offer herself in a holocaust of the Divine Mother. Then she is purified and born as purified earth nature. Uma Parvati, Hemvati, the daughter of the mountains, purified earth nature. And now she can bring Shiva out of his trance through the energy of love which she embodies. All false forms of love are destroyed. The burning of Kama is actually a purification, liberation of Kama. It's not, the story is normally portrayed that Shiva opened his third eye and Kamadev is gone. Kamadev is transmuted. He becomes vast, universal. He becomes himself an embodiment of truth. It's one of the first stories of transformation. That's why the mother says Shiva is the Lord of transformation. He destroys from the old forms, liberates the spirit and gives it a new form. And then the new creation begins. The birth of Kartikeya is actually the birth of the psychic being. Aurobindo speaks of that. So, this is another line wherein yoga is not done for individual moksha or withdrawal from appearances and forms, but for transformation of earth nature. This is the yoga of Aurobindo. But yes, it's a two-step procedure. First step is indeed, paradoxically, a disengagement from the forms of ignorance. We have to be liberated from the appearances which blind us. And then we have to return back upon the forms. Forms is not just the human body, institutions, forms of thought, metaphysical philosophies, and everything possible. And create a new form. And that is how we see another line of yoga, which in the words of the Gita has for its aim, Lok Sangrahart, to keep on moving the evolutionary march of mankind. So Aurobindo yoga engages in the evolutionary march of mankind, not its withdrawal from earthly life, declaring it as a vanity of vanities. That's easy, though of course no yoga is easy, all credit to, but still it's relatively easy. All that one needs is a shot of influenza virus and one feels all is, vanity and he feels blue about life and withdraws. But that's not the original yoga of the earth. The original yoga of earth is to transform matter, to transform nature, to transform forms and institutions. And we see that going on. The old forms have become effete. They are destroyed, just as Shiva carries the dead body of Sati and she is destroyed by Vishnu himself. Bits and pieces, because it served its purpose, outlived its purpose. New forms must emerge, and we see that happening in the world today. And Savitri, by the power of its divine poetry, its magnificent creative word which is there embodied in Savitri, she creates many new forms which have become imprints for the earth. Look at, for example, let's start from the, it's a story of conjugal love, and Aurobindo describes the marriage of Savitri and Satyavan. Now, of course, there is the symbol behind it, but for the moment, let me just speak about this wonderful marriage. Which we will connect with, because how is Savitri contemporary? It's an ancient story. So what? Fine, wonderful things happen in the life of Savitri and Satyavan. But in India, there is a tradition of portraying lives, human lives, in a divine way. The avatar comes and sets a new trend. He's a trend setter. He sets an example for the race. And that example is the one which becomes an ideal for humanity to follow. That's how in India we have the tradition of Rama. Rama is an example. His life becomes an example. Till today people, talk about Rama as an example which they must follow. And so Aurobindo now sets a new example for earth and a new way. So he keeps the spirit but gives it a new mold. That's the beauty of Aurobindo. And that's why it's so difficult to put him in a slot. We try to put him in a slot. Those who are very traditional, they wonder where is Aurobindo written about fasting and whether we should keep fast on Mondays or Tuesday or Saturday. Whether we should pray to this God or that God, whether we should do this japa or that japa. Aurobindo and the mother will not say that. But they will keep the spirit. And that spirit they are giving a new form. Look at what marriages are going to be in the future. I am right now taking it. Even at every level Savitri operates. Not into its deepest level. It's the marriage of the Lord and his spouse. It is the marriage of the divine with material nature. But at the most outward level, marriage as an institution. Look how contemporary Aurobindo is while describing Savitri. And it's there in the story of Savitri. He's not saying something new, but he is giving it a very uniquely new turn of the future. Marriage as an institution has outlived its purpose. We all know it. It has become a trap for the human soul's advancing march. So the institution is gone. But something has to come in its place. It doesn't mean lawlessness. It doesn't mean, do as I please. No. What is the principle behind marriage? What is the truth behind marriage? It's the truth of love. So love is liberated. Love must be kept. Love must be preserved. Love is the angel. Love is that which can seal two hearts. It can seal all hearts into oneness. That power he liberates and gives it a new form. Look here on page 411. The two are married. How are they married? Which temple do they go? Who is the priest? In marriage there is a priest, there is a temple or a church or whatever, some form. And then they take so many rounds around the fire. Later on they start taking rounds around each other's ego. And everything crash lands. But what really is love? It's a sense of love. Each now was a part of the other's unity. How wonderful. This is the marriage of the future. In the present we can see the first glimpse of this. But Aurobindo is speaking of maybe centuries or at least decades ahead. Each now was a part of the other's unity. Savitri and Satyavan, they have chosen that we decide to lead our life together. And they become part of each other's unity. The world was but their twin self-finding scene. They strengthen each other. They are complementary to each other. They are no more like it's my way and your way. And we are together because, we will have a fatter purse and at the end of the day, better, survival for our children. No. Twin self-regarding scene, self-finding scene. They help each other discover each other. Self-finding scene. And not that, destruction of each other. You are no good and you are no good. These are the marriages as an institution of the past which drag on. Of course, there are some very beautiful high points, but it has to go because something truer has to come. Or their own wedded being's vaster frame on the high glowing cupola of the day. What is the auspicious muhurt? In India you have the auspicious moment for marriage. What is the moment of marriage? When the Lord chooses for love to be born in a human heart. On the high, glowing cupola of the day, who is the witness? The sun is the fire, eternal witness. Fate tied a knot with morning's halo threads. Normally it's tradition that maternal uncle or somebody will tie a knot. But who ties the knot of marriage? Fate. How does he tie? Where is the cloth? Morning's halo thread. Together they become one in that beautiful sunlight. While by the ministry of an auspicious hour, hard bound before the sun, their marriage fire. How marvelous these lines are. Hard bound. Not priest bound, not religion bound, not caste bound, heart bound. Who is the priest who has sanctified it? Sun, the eternal witness. Described beautifully in the Kathopanishad. Suryo yatha sarvalokasya chakshu nalipyate chakshushe bahya dosha. And what is that symbol? Eko vashi sarva bhutantaratma nalipyate loka dukkhin bhaya. The sun, eternal sun, the who watches over all creation. Symbol of the supermind. Truth consciousness. That has seen. That has acknowledged. We don't need any other register. The wedding of the eternal Lord and spouse took place again on earth in human forms. Look, so beautiful. Eternal Lord and spouse. This is what a wedding should be. But for that, how much human consciousness is to advance? So far from our present ego-bound mentality. Each marriage should become a marriage of Shiva and Parvati. That is the tradition in Indian thought. Each love, we swear by the name of Radha and Krishna. Strangely, they never got married. And we celebrate it. If there is an ideal love, it is of Radha and Krishna. If there is an ideal marriage, Shiva and Parvati. Each marriage is supposed to become like that. In a new act of the drama of the world, the united two began a greater age. What is the purpose of marriage? To help in the progressive march of mankind. Together to make each other stronger in their self-discovery and in their power of the self, which can engage with this world, take it one step further. In the silence and murmur of their emerald world, in the silence and murmur of that emerald world, and the mutter of the priest wind's sacred verse. Who is chanting the verses? The winds. Sacred verse. Why it is sacred? Because it has the touch of the sun and truth in the heart. Hence they become sacred. And who is the honored guest? Who is, lavishing all kinds of riches? The honored guests are the gods. The winds murmuring, the trees, they are the guests. They are the witness of this wonderful marriage. Amid the choral whispering of the leaves, when marriage is taking place, there are people who are whispering, oh, how nice, oh, how beautiful. So the leaves are whispering, wow, wonderful. This is the marriage of the Lord and the spouse taking place. The other set of leaves are saying, hush, hush, hush. Stay quiet, stay quiet. Murmur of the leaves. Love's twain had joined together and grew one. It's love that must join. All other things, legal, social, religious, are ceremonies. They have served their purpose. When man was brute, he needed an external compulsion of the family, of society, of religion to bind him together. But when man advances, becomes more refined, more cultured, more truth conscious, when he would honor his own commitment to himself, not to anybody else, then we don't need these forms. Why should we need these forms? A word, a thought is enough. We have such stories in Indian thought of Nal, Damayanti, where one thought itself is enough. Raja Harishchandra, he has thought. In his dream, he has given a kingdom to a rishi. And the next day the rishi comes and says, King, do you remember me? He says, yes, I am waiting for you. He doesn't say, who you? I saw you in a dream. Well, dreams are after all dreams. He steps out of his throne and says, here is your throne, I am waiting for you. What greatness, what magnanimity. If one has to live life, this is the way to live. The natural miracle was wrought once more. What is the natural miracle? It is the miracle of love that transforms, the miracle of love that gives birth to new and new creation all the time, through all the seasons. In the immutable, ideal world, one human moment was eternal made. So it's a human moment which is transmuted with the touch of eternal, with the touch of divinity. So this is, well, if this is not contemporary, then I don't know what would be contemporary. But this is not enough. describes to us who is Savitri, who is Satyavan. The main protagonists of the play, the hero and the heroine of this wonderful epic, in whose image we should mold ourselves. This is the new mold, the new type. What is the old type? Old type is, oh, he is a boy. Where is he working? How much is he earning? What is his father's bank balance? This is the old type. We are all too familiar. But we pay lip service to God, so religion, oh, he is the same caste. That makes it worse. What about the girl? Old type. Oh, beautiful. Wow, fair-skinned. Convent educated. Is she earning also? Wonderful. Old type. Gone. Divine has broken it. New type has to emerge from within us. So we'll read a little bit about that. Page 357, Savitri. The new type of the eternal feminine in the race. This is the type which will emerge in time to come. And all nature is striving towards it. Every child born is an effort to create that. Every mold, it's trying. Many attempts are aborted. Abortion is not just when a child is still born inside the womb. There are also aborted attempts of nature to create a new type. We don't recognize it. But this is the Asura and the Titan and the Rakshasa. Aborted attempt. Still divine tries, maybe, he'll get converted and change. But these are attempts of nature to bring something new. What is the Asura? Greatness, grandiosity. But it's not put to a divine use. It's put to an egoistic use. So nature brings out new possibilities, new capabilities. All the time it is trying. It's experimenting. Even genetically it is experimenting. That's what is the meaning of mutation. Maybe one day the new type will come. So here Aurobindo describes the new type. Savitri. All objects were to her shapes of living selves. 357. She consciously deals with everything. Everything is living. There is nothing like, oh, this non-living, this useless. Everything is conscious and living. And she perceived a message from her kin in each awakening touch of outward things. When we are vigilant, God speaks to us all the time. Everywhere, because we are open to hearing His word. And when we are not vigilant, then even if He comes right in front of us and says, look here my child, do this, we'll say, oh, you are just some charlatan. I don't believe you. And He asks one last time, whom do you believe, sir? I believe my own self, meaning thereby my limited ego. How ridiculous it is. Yes, one must believe in oneself, but one's own highest self. So, she saw the touch of God in all things. Each was a symbol power, a vivid flash in the circuit of infinities half known. Nothing was alien or inanimate, nothing without its meaning or its call. For with a greater nature she was one. This is the liberation or emancipation of women. We talk about women liberation, and Mother spoke of, no power or law can liberate women unless they liberate themselves from 3 types of slavery. And one slavery is the attraction towards male and his strength, as if they are not strong. And we, unfortunately, in the old paradigm, men liked women who were very dependent. But that's not the paradigm we are here for today. She is strong, she is capable, she is independent, she is like Savitri. She can meet fate and death. She is like Sita, the warrior of Valmiki Ramayana, who can stay alone, give birth to children, and doesn't feel that I have done a sin. This is the feminine type, liberating her whole energy. Greater nature, she is one. As from the soil sprang glory of branch and flower, as from the animal's life rose thinking man, a new epiphany appeared in her. She is the embodiment of something new which she has brought with her. And what is that new? A mind of light. A life of rhythmic force. We don't have a mind of light. We have a mind, hopefully, but it's a mind of ignorance. It doesn't know these step in front. With all the pride in our mind, we cannot predict. No scientist in this world can predict what's going to happen the next moment. We can make predictions, they may hit or miss. But there is no foolproof, certain way that yes, this is going to happen the next moment. Because it's a mind of ignorance. But she brings a new mind, a mind of light. A mind that can see. So much has been written and spoken on the mind of light, and we are not going into that right now. A life of rhythmic force. Life must be full of force, joy, energy. But not a disorderly energy, not a disorderly force, ever engaged in destroying. Rhythmic force. What is rhythmic force? It builds things. It destroys all that needs to be put aside, but it builds, most importantly. That's why we have two forms of dances. When we go back to the most ancient tradition, we have the dance of Shiva. It is also a rhythm, but a rhythm that destroys. But there is also the dance of new creation. It's not, the first dance is called Tandava. The other is, anyone? Lasya. It is the dance of new creation. So a rhythmic force. Through her life movements, engaging with everything, she was creating new things, new rhythms. She was infusing new life into everything. Not in a state of dullness, despair, and all the time counting, how much more money. And that's not what life is about. Something much greater. A body instinct with hidden divinity. Actually, mother's own life. Body instinct with hidden divinity. Actually, this innate sense is there in us. We lose it through education. Education actually sometimes it's meant to unveil the God within us. But what it does over years veils whatever touch of Godhead we experience in our childhood and makes us totally, very intelligent, practical, rational, clever human beings, with very little difference between the fox and humanity. Clever, socially well-knit, fast, intelligent, smart. At the end of the day, it's a fox. That's not what we want. We want a new humanity. Not humanity which is waiting with its claws to tear upon its prey. That's the old type. It had its purpose, let it be gone. Let us awaken to this new possibility. Let us all engage with this kind of a new becoming. A body instinct with hidden divinity. Instinctively it knows, no, I don't want this. I don't need this. And which can go to any extent. Even Aurobindo was asked once about sexuality. He says there is a higher feminine type which does not like it. And she yields only under the pressure of man. Look at it. He says that it's possible to have a relation between two human beings, a man and a woman, without this intervention. There is a, instinct with divinity. It spontaneously feels repulsed by things which are not beautiful, which have become ugly, which opened doors to all kinds of things. Prepared an image of the coming God. And then he described behind, last line on this page, 357. Holding her forehead's candid, stainless space. Her mind is free of the clutter. Purity is not a condition of the body, it is a condition of the mind. Not only that, one place says chastity is in the mind, not in the body. That's the image of Draupadi. She has 5 husbands, but she is regarded as chaste among the 5 holy women. It's a condition of the mind. So here her mind is a stainless space. You can't stain it with all kinds of thoughts which, belong to the world of ego and desire. Behind the student arch, a noble power of wisdom looked from light on transient things. She is looking through an inner light on things which are time-born, which are born and they die. She is looking at them. How is she looking at them? We look at it indulgently. This is for me. And when this object is taken away from me, God is so cruel. As if that's all the game of life is about. Then we have the mystic who says, transient things. It's of no good. Let's withdraw. But she is not doing that. She is looking upon it. What makes it transient? What can make it endure? What can make it perfect with the divine perfection? She is looking at life from that eye. A scout of victory in a vigil tower. She is a warrior above all. When she is told by her mother and father that, look, why don't you go and choose someone else? This man is going to die, whom you have chosen, because Narad has prophesied. She says something very powerful. Just for a moment, we skip on to page 432. Look at the warrior, scout of victory in a vigil tower. The warrior Savitri. The warrior aspect of the feminine in the race and what it cannot achieve. Page 432. Fourth line or fifth line. Once my heart chose and chooses not again. We call it stubbornness. And we say it is very bad. We want obedience, particularly from women towards the menfolk. Either from fathers or from husbands or later on from sons. But look at Savitri. Is she a being of the past or present or future? We don't find this type. Now it is emerging. Still that power is, earth is trying to stifle that power. But look at this. Once my heart chose and chooses not again. Who can say this? Is it an ordinary statement? The word I have spoken can never be erased. It is written in the record book of God. It's not about you, Dad. It's not about you, Mom. It's about me and my word. I have given this word. I have written it in the book of the gods. This is truth. Truth in speech, truth in thought, truth in feelings, and truth in action and truth in will. This is a practical living example of the yoga of earth we must engage in. At one place, Mother says, only truth can save us. And then she qualifies it. Because you'll say, truth means, all is Brahman, this is Maya. We'll get into all those stuff. She says, truth in thought. Truth in speech. Truth in feelings. Truth in will. Truth in action. But we are all the time looking for opinions of others. Truth is lost in the maze of social opinions and religious ceremonies. Truth must be liberated. So she says, it is written in the record book of God. The truth once uttered from the earth's air effaced, by mind forgotten, sounds immortally forever in the memory of time. And this can take us to all levels. In that one moment when we recognize the divinity, let's say in our context of Mother and Aurobindo, what does the heart do? Thou, I am thine for all eternity. Can it go back on that? No, I have a better guru now who can teach me some new practices. This is our state. Jumping from here to there and there to here. The truth once uttered. My heart has chosen. It applies at all levels. And this is what can revitalize humanity and create the new type. Once the dice fall thrown by the hand of fate in an eternal moment of the gods, my heart has sealed its troth to Satyavan. In faith. Faith is the troth. My heart has sealed its troth to Satyavan. The faith, the deepest self of mine, has completely entrusted itself to him. Its signature, adverse fate cannot efface. What if all the forces of the world deny? Let them do. Its seal, not fate, nor death, nor time dissolve. And marvelous lines. Those who shall part, who have grown one being within, they become one. How will they part? Savitri is a book of love. What love? This is not ordinary human love. Only the divine can love like this. The mother once told this to the disciples, my child, even if I have seen someone for a moment, I hold myself responsible for that person. Even if he has revolted and gone away, still, I do not cease to take care. This is the love. And to embody this love, obviously we have to be free from all taint of ego and desire. Then only we can love like this. And then love will become beautiful, a power. Not today we regard it as a weakness. It is the greatest power. Mother says it's the power of transformation. But it must become one with truth. Then it will be restored to its pristine purity. Death's grip can break our bodies, not our souls. He's prepared. Look, this was the ancient idea of sati, not jumping into the fire outwardly, but the inner fire. She was a tapaswini, possibly only because women could love like this. There was no sata, so to say. Men were regarded fundamentally incapable of this love. So nobody even bothered, that true love from men. No. You. It's enough if you can just, love her a little more humanly, a little more gently, compassionately. But a woman could love with truth in her heart. And with that power of love, she could change the path of the gods. There are stories like that in Indian thought. That a lady, by the power of love in her heart, which has become one with truth, changes the movement of the sun. And the daylight doesn't break. Indian thought loved these characters who rose to greatness every way. It's not about real or unreal. It's about a possibility. Yes, we can stop the movement. What does it mean to move the movement of the sun? The journey of fate, it stops. So the great Sati Anusuya has to go and say, please don't do this. I know you are capable of doing this, but you are stopping the whole journey. It's a beautiful story. Because he has come to know that the gods have conspired that the husband is going to die next day. He says, next day, there will be no day. Now this may sound like, mythological, magical thinking. It's not that. It's a possibility which we can awaken within us. And it will be one day when man will be master of fate and circumstance. If death take him, I to know how to die. That means leave my body and go to the worlds, pursue him. Let fate do with me what she will or can. I am stronger than death and greater than my fate. This is what Sri Aurobindo wants us to become. Not, oh my God, it is fate, my karma, my destiny, poor helpless creature born to bend beneath the yoke. Blame it on everybody from the person next to you to gods. Everybody is blameworthy. I am the only fellow who is so good. And look what fate has done. No. We wake up with the power of the soul within. With the immortal spirit as the witness, we say no. We refuse. Man can accept or refuse his fate. Sri Aurobindo says that. Even if the one maintains the decree, you refuse, still it happens. So what happens then? Even if the unseen maintains the decree. Yet, doom is not a seal. It's not a closed page. It's not a full stop. Arisen from the tragic crash of life, the spirit rises mightier with each defeat. Its godlike wings grow with every fall. What a marvelous lesson. If once we fall, we start saying, Niruddha once asked Sri Aurobindo, I feel very bad, whatever the question would be, but essence is this. we fall again and again on the path. And Aurobindo says, so what? Get up. If you fall, get up. Rub your pants, start walking ahead. Don't try to, say mud is bad. Children are taught very unfortunately to hit the ground or, blame or cry. No, it's okay. It's okay to fall. What is not okay is to remain in that state. It's okay. Everybody falls. What is there? Now see how liberating he is and how contemporary. In a world where we are plagued by sin and guilt, it's okay to fall, but get up and walk. Walk with your head held high. So Savitri speaks. I am stronger than death and greater than my fate. My love shall outlast the world. Doom falls from me. Helpless against my immortality. She has discovered the immortal self in her. She says, names and form will change, but I'll pursue. I'm not going to give up this. This is the spirit of this yoga. It's not that, how many years, when will I have the ultimate experience? That's a weakling. If many lives, so be it. This is worth doing because this is worthy of our manliness. Fate's law may change, but not my spirit's will. You see, this is the new type. The old type is fate is everything. We have become fatalists, so to say. What to do? It's written in my kapal, in my forehead. So the answer is whose forehead? My forehead. So it's your forehead, rub it off. It's not written in somebody else's forehead which you cannot touch. Bring such a power within you that it can rub off. Mother said that, when people consulted astrologers and this and that, she said, my child, when you turn to spiritual life, all this has no meaning. Leave it behind. The movement of the stars, my destiny, your destiny is what you choose. Doesn't matter what road it will take, what ups and downs. They are part of the journey. It's okay. Sometimes the flights get cancelled. It's all right. Sometimes they crash. Doesn't matter. We'll take the next body and the next flight. But that's my destiny. Yeah, the body is actually a yana, a vehicle. It's actually a vehicle. So when a car breaks down, what do? Okay, we feel a little bad if we are insured, then it's fine. But we don't say, I'm going to spend the rest of my life here. You call for a new taxi. The new taxi is the body. It's a yan, it's a yantra, nothing else. It's literally described as a vehicle, a vahana, a ratha, a car, chariot, call it whatever, aircraft for that matter. But take the journey because the goal, the road thou choosest are thy fate. O queen, O king, the events that meet thee on the road, though they smite thy body with joy and grief, are not thy fate. That is not fate. They are just things on the journey, trivias. They happen, momentarily they will engage us, make us feel, oh my God, fine. So what is fate? The goal, thy road thou choosest are thy fate. Nobody chooses for me. I choose. This is the height to which man can awaken. There is a very beautiful poem by the late Muhammad Iqbal. He writes passionately, he says, खुदी को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे बता तेरी रजा क्या है. He says, make your will so strong and powerful and so one that every time before your fate is written, God asks you, tell me what do you want in your fate? This is the new possibility which Savitri has come to release and realize upon earth. And we are inheritors of that possibility. That's the joy. This is Savitri. And what about Satyavan? We must not leave him. He is the new type. Actually, he is described beautifully. Let me go to that by Narada himself. When he is asked, who is this boy whom Savitri has loved? Yes. Page 430. This is another type which must embody. Page 430. His single being excels the works of time. We must aspire for greatness. We must not be content with the low, the obscure, the limited, the helpless state. That's not worthy of our manhood. Why? Because the divine dwells within us, not for the satisfaction of the ego. At one place, Aurobindo says that when we are in a state of despair and depression and we feel life is not worth it, I am useless, worthless, he gives us a simple cure, simple remedy. He says, lift your eyes towards the sun. Don't look down in despair. Lift your eyes towards the sun. There you will see that burning splendor of fire. That's where we have come from. Look towards the northern sky where Orion shines still as he was shown to your forefathers millions of years ago. And then he says, after all that scenario, come near, look yonder, this little child walking, laughing. Do you not see God in him? We don't have to, we have to have a new vision. As someone has said beautifully, that greatness is not about doing great things as we recognize. Greatness is doing extraordinary things with an extraordinary vision. Same things. Sweeping of the floor, cooking the meal, doing everything that we do every day, but with an extraordinary greatness of consciousness. So when we sweep the floor, it's not a chore or an errand. It's cleaning the spaces for the Divine Mother's feet. It becomes great. So, his single being excels the work of time. A sapphire cutting from the sleep of heaven. Delightful is the soul of Satyavan. A ray out of the rapturous infinite. A silence waking to a hymn of joy. He is quiet within. At the same time, he is full of joy. He spreads this joy, radiates this peace and joy all around. A divinity and kingliness gird his brow. See, this is the truth of a nature. What is really a king? A king is not somebody who is ruling outwardly. A king is first and foremost Swarat, one who is master of himself, kingliness. Then he can rule outwardly. This was the ancient ideal of first becoming Swarat, then Samrat. You first be your self-ruler, master of yourself. Such kings are no more found easily. But this is the future. At least in India we can see the first touch. That those who have renounced things are suddenly in the position of kingliness. Because this is how it should be. In olden epics we have this. Why Rama is an ideal king? Because he could easily renounce the kingdom. This is kingliness, a royalty. He knows that kingdom is not about merely possessing something outwardly. If you have courage and love and faith within yourself, you can build empires. This is kingliness. So that he has seen in the brow of Satyavan. His eyes keep a memory from a world of bliss. He has not forgotten the source from where he has come. As brilliant as a lonely moon in heaven, gentle like the sweet bud that spring desires. There is a combination of strength and gentleness. This has been often, and Aurobindo speaks of this in Synthesis of Yoga, this has been often celebrated as the ideal human type. We have its description in Rama when he walks into the court of King Janak. And all of them are saying, oh my God, such a wonderful prince, so lovely, so tender, so cute. But why did this king choose such a difficult test? He is really cruel. He should have, he's the ideal man for Sita. But how can he ever think about bending the giant Shiva's bow? But then the poet describes in another scene how of all the warriors and strong men, including Ravana, He alone can lift and not just bend, break the giant bow. Even Sita could do it, just for information. So that is the inner strength which becomes one with tenderness. Now strength is, those who are strong, they become harsh. Why? They suppress the love within their heart. And those who are very loving, gentle, tender, they cannot bear the shocks of the world, because they do it by suppressing strength. But strength and love are the right and the left hand. We must bring both together. So here he is being described like that. This is the new type of humanity which will come. Pure like a stream that kisses silent banks, he takes with bright surprise spirit and sense. The new type. Bright surprise, spirit and sense. The old type, either sense or the spirit. Either the world or God. But here is someone who takes with bright surprise. He is equally deft, equally an adept, equally a master when it comes to this world of sensory forms. At the same time, he is equally adept at the secrets of inner life and the mystic truths. So this is the new type. A living knot of golden paradise. A blue, immense, he leans to the longing world. His being is of the stature of the skies, but not aloof and away. He leans down to earth. That's shown again in Savitri. She leans down. She connects with the most ordinary, the common type. People speak of Sri Aurobindo when he was, before coming to Pondicherry. In Pondicherry, he had to withdraw for a special work, and even then he was all compassion for all that was going on around. He had not cut himself off from world. And when he was there, he could easily go sit with anybody, eat with anyone. And when they described this, his life, pre-Pondicherry, Mother once said it's very inspiring. And somebody should write about it. And indeed, Rishabh Chand, Sri Aurobindo, his life unique, is directly inspired by this will of the Mother that somebody should write primarily about Sri Aurobindo's life before 1910. Why? Because after 1910, nobody can write about it. How he would mix, look at his love towards his wife, toward those who were around. He was earning quite a bit, and then, he leaves all of it. Just because he has to plunge into the freedom struggle, he doesn't think twice. And every month he will bring his salary, leave it in a tray, and pick up from there and give to whoever needs for whatever vegetables. At the end, everything is gone. So when his teacher came, he said, do you think it's a good way to do things? Don't you think that, people will cheat you and fool you and they will take more than... He says, no, it's a sign that, all my needs are fulfilled. Have I ever gone without any need? And then he says, look, it is also a sign that people are actually honest. They only take as much as they need. How beautiful. So this is the spirit that he embodied. The Satyavan. A star, time's joy, borrowed out of eternity, a star of splendor, or a rose of bliss. In him, soul and nature, equal presences, balance and fuse in a wide harmony. This is the new type. Not, the sign of the yogi is he will talk about scriptures, wear a loincloth, withdraw into some hermitage. And when you ask him about worldly, he says, no, these are all worldly things. I have nothing to do with them. I have renounced them. As if renouncing them is greatness. The real greatness is to renounce and recreate them. That is a challenge. So that's the old type. But in him, soul and nature, equal presences. Soul has risen to its stature of divinity, but nature has also risen to a higher supernature. Equal presences. Balance and fuse in a wide harmony. Look at Sri Aurobindo's own life. If you just see the nature, that's what Shri Krishna says in the Gita. When he is describing Vibhuti yogas, he says, among the Vibhutis, he describes many and also takes his own name. I am Krishna among the Vaishnis. How is he a Vibhuti and an avatar at the same time? In nature, he is a Vibhuti. He excels. Sri Aurobindo excelled in many things. Look at the new poetry, look at new thoughts in the field of science, in the field of art, in the field of politics. administration, education that he has unleashed. So, nature and soul, equal presences. Not just about his inner stature, which of course is there. The happy in their bright ether have not hearts more sweet and true than this of mortal make. The gods covet humanity. That's what the mother says, that even gods want to take a human body. And human beings can go beyond the gods, unite with the Supreme. This is the new possibility that we have. We don't have to go through the gods. They are great people, nice friends. We don't need. We have within us the Supreme. Lift your eyes towards the sun. He is near us. And then he says, within your body you carry the one whose breath creates and destroys 1,000,000 universes. So this is the new possibility. His speech, more sweet and true than this of mortal make, that take all joy as the world's native gift. So he doesn't shun joy. He's like Yagnavalk. I need worldly things, I need spiritual things. And receives it as a gift of grace. Takes all joy. But he not only takes, and to all gives joy as the world's natural right. It's not that you have to be my relative to give you something. He gives as natural right. This is Satyavan. His speech carries a light of inner truth and a large-eyed communion with the power in common things has made veilless his mind, a seer in earth shapes of garbless deity. Whatever he sees with a new vision. Common things. It's not that you have to go to a temple or suddenly see something magnificent. He's there, dwelling in everything, and that presence is unveiled. So, shortage of time, we'll just quickly sum up this part. Next page, 431. His sweetness and his joy attract all hearts. He is not somebody who runs away from life to find God. His sweetness and joy attract all hearts to live with his own in a glad tenancy. They want to be near him. Very beautifully, one small incident about mother. It was same with Aurobindo. They actually hailed him as an avatar, pre-Pondicherry days. They were so caught up by the joy and the sweetness in his heart, the love in his heart. And same thing with mother when somebody came to give a lecture in Tokyo. So there's a very beautiful memoir of, I think it is Okahama. So he was sitting and mother had also gone. So he says, he saw the mother and she was such an embodiment of sweetness that he couldn't turn his gaze away. So he says, lecture was going on Gita, but that became in the background. He was drawn to her and becomes, of course he called her as his sister. But look what privilege. So this is Satyavan. And last two lines. His strength is like a tower built to reach heaven. He's not a weakling. He doesn't bend. Man has been given a spine that is erect. Let us remember it. Lest with each passing year we lose a vertebra and become spineless after 33 years. You're given a spine. It's symbolic. And this spine is not lying prone. It is erect. That's why we are. This one of the sign of manliness. Strength, like a tower built to reach heaven. That's why the Kundalini can awake from the base of the spine and shoot itself through all these centers, kissing them with their fiery touch and going beyond the skull into the infinite. His strength is like a tower built to reach heaven. A Godhead quarried from the stones of life. Matter, its rugged touch, the difficulties of life, the challenges of life have quarried him. This is the difference between greatness and smallness. It's not that great people don't meet with difficulties and challenges. Perhaps they meet with far greater challenges. But the difference is, each stone that they meet in life becomes for them a step towards the divine. Whereas for others, it's a blow from the divine. This is the difference. So we'll stop here and continue in the afternoon.